I miss him. And I wish I had gotten to know him better. And he was just so inspired to learn. And I tried to teach him the salsa, and all he wanted to do after that was do the salsa. He kept saying, "Hey Jackie, when's the next time we're going to do salsa?" Jan was a unique person that truly does only come once in a lifetime.
Man, a million things I could say about Juan. I like him a lot. I remember the very first time I met Juan, it was really funny. I lived with him last year. We lived in the dorms together just down the hall, and there was a bunch of us. His first day, everyone just moved in, and we were all down at the end of the hall talking and getting to know each other, and out of nowhere, Juan comes running down the hall and tackles this kid into a big box of cardboard. And we all laughed, it was really funny, and we talked to Juan, got to know each other a bit, and then Juan walked off, and I assumed that Juan knew the kid that he tackled really well, because you don't just tackle strangers, but so I'm like, "Yeah, are you guys good friends?" And he's like, "I have no idea who that is." So anyway, so Juan was never afraid of making friends, even in very unconventional methods, but he was a great guy, really kind, and I liked him a lot.
So I attended school with Juan this past year. I recently moved back to Las Vegas. But before I moved back, Juan was the last person I saw before I moved. He made it a point when I was at the grocery store, I was leaving, just getting snacks before I drove, and he ran down the aisle that I was on to say goodbye. And he's like, "Where are you going?" I said, "Juan, I'm moving back home." And he said, you were gonna come and say goodbye to me?" And I didn't know Juan very well, but it didn't occur to me that I needed to go say goodbye to every person I had met at Weaver State. So I said goodbye to him, I talked to him for like 30 minutes in the grocery store, and I was like, "Juan, where are you going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going back home." And I was like, "How did you get here?" He's like, "Oh, I walked." And I said, "Juan, I'll give you a ride home." And he said, "No." And I said, "Juan, no, really, I'm going to give you a ride home." And he goes, "Okay." So I drove him home, and he was the last person I saw before I moved home. And ironically, this is the next time I'm coming back for Juan. He was really special. He's a really special guy. I'm glad that he chased me down and said bye to me before I got to leave. It was definitely awesome.
My name's Neil, and I also lived with Juan last year in the dorms. And Juan was one of my home teaching companions. So that's where we would get paired up, and we'd go and we'd visit other people in the dorms to make sure they're doing all right. And we would teach them a little lesson, or just share a little message with them. And Juan would always give the deepest thoughts. He was really such a caring person, and he cared for everyone that we would visit. And he really enjoyed going around and visiting those people and making sure that they were happy. And I always just remember whenever during the lesson I'd turn to Juan and ask him what his thoughts were. He would give some of the deepest and most thoughtful and caring message to those people, and to make sure that they felt the spirit of Christ. And that's really what he tried to emulate, I think, in his life.
I don't know if I'm reaching teaching these things or not, but I met Juan in October, right after he came, at the end of September. I'm Ruby DeCona from the library. I'm on the faculty in the library, and for the last 7 years have been one of the co-chairs of the diversity conference that we have each year. And I may have met you then, because he was standing in line waiting to meet our keynote speaker, who was Henry Cisneros, the former Secretary of Housing under the Clinton administration. And I could see that he was really disappointed in not having an opportunity to meet him and talk with him. And I was going to have to take him back to the airport. So I asked Juan and a couple of friends, or a couple of people, other students that were there, if they'd like to accompany us. And his face just glowed. And he almost got a little bit teary, you know. He says, that would be so great, you know. And then he found you to let you know that he was going to be gone for a while. And I didn't remember your name, but I remember the incident of meeting you. And all the way down to the airport, he was having this running conversation with Secretary Cisneros, asking a lot of very intelligent questions. And I don't know if he ever kept in touch with him or not, but Cisneros actually gave him a card and said, you know, get in touch with me if you want to. And he says we can continue some of our conversations. And then on the way back, he and I were talking, and he told me all about his big family, and that, you know, where he was from, and explained that he had just come here. He said, this is such a beautiful place. You just feel like you want to be here. And he told me all about his large family, and told me about his parents who were doing missionary work in China. And I said, oh really, what church? And he says, it doesn't matter, they're doing God's work. And once he started to school, he was in the library all the time. And if you ask any of the reference librarians, they all knew him. Some of them say, he was kind of weird, kind of an odd duck. And I just looked at it as someone who was very, very intelligent and very curious, because I was speaking with someone earlier who said, you know, he would come up with these questions, and you'd explain that it doesn't work that way, that you couldn't get that information. And his answer was, but that's what I want to know. So I think people who saw him as weird or odd was because he always had a spin on what information he was looking for. But you knew that he had thought about it really, really hard before he came to ask his question. And I have to admit that a few times when he asked me some things, I had to stop and think, well, where are we going to find that, you know? Or he stopped me and asked me about, now, if I'm doing this, how would be the best way to say it, you know? And he was always cheerful, and even if he was just walking past and couldn't stop, he'd always nod and make sure he gave a smile and stuff, you know. And he had told me about his brother who had done modeling, and I said, well, have you considered doing something like that? And he said, no, not really. He says, I want to get an education and do what I can to help other people. And I told his mom that several people had commented on his face and what a beautiful face it was. But the thing that was more important was that when you got to know him, you found that his heart was that beautiful too.
y'all for coming. Juan, my brother, and he's a very dear brother to us. There's so many things that
to know him, he'd always come into my room and ask if he had a soda. He loved soda. That was one of his favorites. He loved it. Always come in, can I have a soda? You know, can I have this, that, candy, that, whatever it was, anything sweet, he loved it. And I could tell that he wasn't eating right, you know, and I was very sad to see that. Just hurt me a little bit. So over Christmas break, it was Christmas. I went to spend it with my family, and we had a lot of leftovers left, and I was like, he was the first person that came to my mind, because I knew he wasn't spending Christmas with anybody. I asked him before, you know, maybe you can come, you know. He just like, no, it's all right. I'm just gonna stay here. So I was like, all right. But I got leftovers for him, and that day, Christmas Day, I brought it back for him, and he's like, you know, I had it in my hands, and I came to like shake his hand, and he just came and gave me the biggest hug. Like, that's just the type of person he is. I went to shake his hand, and he gave me a hug. But he's just a thankful guy that anything you did for him, he was thankful. And I just want to let you, he talked about his family all the time. And I just want to let you know he really loved you guys. And, you know, I'm sorry it had to happen like this, but you know, I miss him too. Thank you guys.
I'm Kylie Davis, and Juan was a really great guy. I lived with him in the dorms, and I lived a couple doors down from him. And he'd always ask me to come and hang out with him in the middle of the night, to watch movies, TV, go for a walk. There was a couple nights that we actually walked to Smith's together. And I was getting my groceries, and I was about to pay, and Juan's like, no, Kylie, I got it. He's like, I got it. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I got it. And I said, okay. And we went back to the dorms, and he asked me, he's like, Kylie, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I think I'm going to go to bed. And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, did you want me to stay up with you? And he's like, yeah, will you watch a movie with me? And I said, yeah. We watched Footloose. And when he looked at me, we were watching the movie, and he looked at me, and he's all, Kylie, and I'm like, yeah, Juan, and he's all, thanks for staying up with me, and thanks for always being here for me, you know, and he's all, you're a great girl, and your friendship means the world to me, and I was like, no problem, Juan, you know, I'm here for you. And I also, before I went home for Christmas, I saw him and I said, hey Juan, are you doing anything for Christmas? And he's like, no. And I'm like, are you going home? And he's like, no. And I said, where are you from? And he's like, I'm from China. And I was like, I'm from China. And I was like, you know what? I'm going home, and I have plenty of rooms. If you can come and crash at my house for a couple of days until I go home. And he's like, no, I'll just stay here. And I was like, are you sure, Juan? He's like, yeah, but thanks for the offer. Juan was a really great guy. He always helped people, and he was always there to comfort people. And I'm really gonna miss him. And I'm so sorry that it had to be this way. And I'm so sorry that you lost your son. It's not easy. And if there's anything that I can do, please let me know.
I remember I was serving as an admissions ambassador where we did student recruitment activities. And one of the first things I did as an ambassador was meet Juan. I remember I had just started, I was a freshman myself, and went to a football game, and our advisor said, hey, will you go talk to that young man over there? I think he's by himself. I said, sure. So I went over there and talked to Juan. I still remember he was wearing some California soccer shirt. It was green, and we started talking about soccer for a while. And I was impressed with Juan from the second I met him. And I think since I met him in that standing, every time I saw him, I noticed him, and we'd connect and talk. And that's been going on for about 3 years. But, you know, as I think about Juan, I feel really bad I didn't get to know him even more. And that's when I said the prayer, I kept thinking about relationships and friendships. and how I think what I've learned from Juan is how important it is to cherish the people that you meet and the relationships that you have. And Juan was really good at that. He was really good at that. And you would meet him, and I would always think, what are you thinking about, Juan? Because you could just tell he was on this deep, he just was thinking about everything. And I don't know, I just appreciate him, and I wish I had more concrete things to tie our relationship to, but I think that when I look back, I just think he was always positive and happy and doing something. And he was really productive at the times I met him. And I kind of, on behalf of the students at Weaver, I just wanted to let the family know how much we love Juan. He touched a lot of lives, and he met a lot of people in those 3 years. I don't know if there's a student who's gone through Weaver who has met more people than Juan has met in his life, whether they be extensive relationships or small occurrences where we remember Juan and just smile when we think about him. And I just wanted to share that with you. I hope when you think back on your son's life and wonder how he was doing these last 3 or 4 years, think of good things because he was doing those.
My name is Wes, and just like this young gentleman said, there's nothing in my mind when it comes to happiness when I think of Juan. I was a climbing president, and last year we all went on a climbing trip, and Juan's not much for complaining. He had the biggest blister on his foot, but he did not complain once about it. So the whole weekend he climbed barefoot. He didn't want to put on shoes because it hurt so bad. Like, Juan, we have better shoes, we can put ointment on. He's like, no, don't worry about it, guys. So we walked literally 2 miles barefoot to go climbing because he didn't want to wear his shoes because it hurt too bad, but he didn't want to complain about the blister. It took him about an hour and a half to walk this, and we thought it was the coolest thing in the world because he had so much initiative and motivation to still get out there and still climb, even though his foot was hurt. The reason his foot was hurt because of the marathon that he ran by himself, barefoot in his shoes without socks on. So he gave himself a blister for fun. He was an outstanding guy. We loved him, absolutely loved him. Climbing club, everyone he ever met in the climbing field actually loved him. So sorry for the guy's loss. I know it's very sad, but he's a guy who loved to do things.
My name's Claudia. I'm the grungy little sister of his. One of my favorite things that I remember about my brother was that he never tried to act like he was so much older or wiser than me. He would actually step down a little and try to be as immature or childish as I was being. We had this little joke. He was, and just to show you how unique he was, when we needed to go to the bathroom to go pee, instead of saying I need to go pee, he would say, must make pee-pee. We'd have awesome conversations. We actually got very into the reptilian agenda. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's this theory that there's reptilian angels, aliens, in Zero that they're hiding. And we were very into that, very suspicious. And so our plan was to make a trip out there and go and uncover everything and save the world. And among that, other conversations we had consist of spirits that we would talk to. We're very spiritual guy. And most of our family is, and a lot of us have history of meeting things, whether they're imaginary or not. We just all have it. And it was the funniest thing, just hearing him talk about the ones that he would talk to. He'd introduce me to them, and we'd stay up all night, showing each other who we would talk to and stuff. And it wasn't always a religious thing, but and JP never tried to push that on me. That was one of the best things about him. He never tried to force any opinions. He He cared a lot about people down to their weight and how healthy they were being. He used to buy snacks at a little store, those little circle gummy bear things, the melon flavor. And he'd pass one to each person, and then he'd keep the whole bag for himself, not because he was being selfish, but because he didn't want anyone to get fat. He was my partner in crime, and hopefully still will be. I love you, JP.
I'm Fran. Juan wanted to be a film director, and he would always stay with me after I went through my divorce, and he loved my son. He loved his mother, and we would go for long walks. I couldn't keep up with him. He would always try to encourage me to exercise and do all the things that I wanted to do. And one of the things that we had in common was we both liked acting. And he would take me out for long walks, and we would feed horses. We would pick apples and we would feed horses. And my son reminds me a lot of him because he has big eyebrows, and he was hard. A friend like him was hard to find. He was really, honestly, the only friend I really had. You couldn't keep him away from the trails. There was one time we went to the Ogden River when the waters were high, and he asked me, he goes, I want to get in the water, and he asked me why I was scared of water, and I told him because I had a brother that passed away at the age of 8 years old, and he looked at me and he goes, well, let's bring him back, and he goes, on 3, and I said, no. He goes, we're seeing me from that side. And 1, 2, 3, he dove, and he always talked about calculated risks, and I knew one day, maybe, I worried about him because he loved outdoors. Like I said, he would take me for long walks, and I'm gonna miss him. And I'm glad that I had the opportunity to see a lot of people here and meet his mom. And, I'm gonna do my best to follow out my dream in remembrance to him. And because I knew he wanted to be a film director, and I'm gonna stick with my acting and do the right thing and help people, because that's what I knew he loved to do. He was a beautiful soul.
So I remember the first time I saw Juan. I know him by Brant. But the first time I saw him was at Army PT, 6 o'clock in the morning, and he walked in with these bright yellow foot shoes, with shows on your toes. And with the Army, you have to wear certain things, and you're supposed to wear tennis shoes. And they were bright yellow, and he had these long socks on, and he was just ready to go. And I remember somebody pulled him to the side and talked to him about it. He didn't wear them again, but he did love those shoes. But I remember, because I work in the Shepherd Union building, and I saw him every now and then. He was in the Union building quite a lot. And I remember one day he came to the info desk and he asked if we had any clothes that he could give to charity. And I was standing in the back, and I just remember they were all saying, no, we don't today, but you can come back. But I know that he would check in every now and again to see if he could take clothes to the charity. He was a really amazing guy. He really was. We would always talk in the Union building. He would always ask me how I was doing. One day he's like, are you still doing ROTC? And I was like, no, not this semester. And he's like, well, we should hang out sometime. And I'm like, yeah. It upsets me that we never had the chance to hang out, because I know I've learned so much about him tonight. And he really was an amazing guy. And, I do believe that he's in a better place.
I want to say how blessed I am to be here today with all of you, because we haven't seen our son for 3 years. He sent us, we would communicate, I would send messages and news about the party, but his communication was little online. I love you, Mom. I'm doing okay. And I understand why he didn't write. Just got it. He had so much in his life, so many things to say. Who can sit down and write so many stories, he was doing so many things. I can't believe it. Because he left us to come here, and I think it was the best place he could go. And let's meet. And all of you for taking care of him. But he was with us in California the last time. We took some family pictures because we had a family reunion with the rest of our kids, and only 3 friends. But the rest was all there, and he was there too. And that's what was the last time we saw him. I'm so happy to hear all these stories because I get to know my son. I didn't know him the way he is, and he was when he was here. It's not that I didn't see all those beautiful things, I did, but so many details of stories, and I think he flourished when he came here. He was really flourishing, and studying the things he wanted to study and experience everything he wanted to experience. I think he did well. It was a big news for us that he was missing, and couldn't bless sad because he kept us online, but he was so wise in telling us and how to handle the whole thing. We were with him at peace, and we were feeling like, see what's happened? No, I will think, no, he's not calm. But God gave us such an amazing grace. And we always knew when we received the news that he was in heaven. And he was happy. And he was done with his mission here on earth. And I can see that he fulfilled his mission. He had love, he helped people. That's the main mission you can have. And And God told me that he fulfilled his mission and he was ready for bigger jobs. And I always spoke to my husband. By the way, my husband would love to be here. He couldn't come. We have 4 more kids and he couldn't leave them alone, and a lot of work doing there in China. A lot of commitment there, so he couldn't come. What I was going to say. I want to tell a little story from JP in his early years. JP was like with all our kids would travel with us everywhere. We have been in 27 countries around the world, living in all 7 countries. And our kids are born in 7 different countries where we were living. We went from South America to Mexico, to Russia, to China, and little time in America, just a few years in different times. JP always sticks with us, but when he was 16 years old, he decided to leave and finish high school in the States. So we were in China that time, and he left and he had his life. He was living with our son. He did great in school. He was in honor roll after 3 months. He was in honor roll in the school, the best student. He would say that. And he was gone for 4 years. My daughter, by the way, JP is a twin brother, and she has a twin sister. They're twins. So they were very, very good with each other, very good friends, very loving each other until the 16 years old that he left. So they had a real rough time. He did a lot of things good, bad. He was kind of lost. And he studied, he went to college, he did well. But still inside his mind, he didn't know his way. And our kids were all raised with the Bible and God and serving others. And they did it for years. When they were small, if you see pictures, they made shows with us and songs. And we will visit orphanage. We did so many things. Anyway, so JP left those 4 years and he was lost. And my daughter sent me a letter that he wrote when he came back to us in 2005. He came back to us after 4 years out. And when he came back, he was starving for love, starving for the Word of God. So much that he was so lost. And he told in his letter that when he came to us, he was so lost. He didn't know what to do with himself. He regretted many things he had done. And because we believe and we have Jesus in our life 24 hours a day, we told him, Jacob, you just need the Word. So he started reading the Word, and he was so hungry. He would read and read. He would be desperate to read the Word. He started memorizing the scriptures again and everything. So his life turned to God again, and we had some prayer times with him, and he, amazingly, the Lord showed us, the Lord told us that he had a mission, because he was coming back to the Lord at that time, after being 4 years kind of far away from God. And I think from that time, the Lord started working in his heart through the Word, and he started being the person he was supposed to be. And the Lord used him. I can see it right now. I'm so happy to hear all these stories. We opened up a website, and my son, our oldest son, he's a website, professional website. So he made a very nice website about JP's gone, and it's called Remembering Juan Brant. .com. If you give us your email, we can send you the website, and you can check it out and see a lot more story. But what we want is if you can please tell your story. We have a place where people can put stories about Jake. We really want to I would like to recollect all those stories to my family when I go back. Say, this was JP, you know, and we're at peace with God. We know JP is in good place, is in heaven. I thank you so much. Oh, one more thing I want to really appreciate, say so much thankful for all of you for putting us in a very good homey place to be while here, feeding us and everything. They just taking such good care of us. We're so thankful. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming.
Appreciate all those that came up and made a verbal comment, and appreciate all those that made a comment in their heart. Thanks to a person that I've never met in my life named Josh, who happened to call me this afternoon. He arranged for this to be taped, and so it can go on Facebook and it can go on rememberingjuanbrant.com. And so if you have any pictures or if you have anything that would be interesting for other people to be aware of, please go to that website and you can find out about it. If you came in on the side, you might have noticed a lot of cashews. Please take a minute and wander over and get a cup, because there's quite a few of them over there. The cashews was Juan's favorite kind of like snack, and he loves cashews. And so wanted to make some cashews available, tonight. Sometime in the spring or early summer, there may be an effort to try to maybe hike up to the area where one was found and spread some ashes. And so again, if you're interested in maybe doing that, participating in that, stay connected to rememberingjuanbrant.com. Check it maybe now and then, and that might be something you might want to participate in. I know Juan would be so impressed how many people are here tonight. I'm impressed by how many people are here tonight. He lived here longer than any other place he had been in his life. And he talked about wanting to make this his home. He thought the people were down to earth, the surroundings were beautiful, and he just loved the outdoors and having it so close. So, for all of you who made his life better while he was here, thanks. In closing, there's a song that was Juan's favorite song, and the first time you heard it, you read the words and you said, Mitch, that's exactly what I believe. And so the words are in the program. And freinds, who's the director here at the funeral home, is going to play the piano, and I'm going to lead. And then following that, there's going to be taps played. Both Juan's brother and sister, Claudia is visiting from Oklahoma, where she's in the Army. Miguel recently served in the Army. Juan had participated in ROTC while I was here. But having gone to all these other countries in the world, had a special love for America. And so we're going to just play taps. So after the song, please remain in your seats, listen to the taps, and then please, if you haven't met, these wonderful family, please come up and meet them and come over on the side. There's some things to look at and some things to sign and a lot of cashews. Thank you again for coming.
Today
Thanks again for coming.